your boy from the room. Yo, this Maine shooting is insane. The fact that we have a mass shooting happening at this moment where the world is, and so much other breaking news is happening around the world. It's a lot of death happening. I pray for everybody. Pray for your families. Pray for your children. You see what I'm saying? Apparently, in this Maine mass shooting at a restaurant, it was in a bowling alley. I guess a bowling alley and a restaurant, basically, and at least 16 people were killed. But the law officers was telling sources, or CNN specifically, that the death toll could be as high as 22. So now apparently it's a gigantic manhunt. I guess in the north side of Maine, and they say they're looking for some Robert Card. He's like 40 years old, and apparently he's also an ex-militant, which is very interesting because now we have ex-military people who are going quote unquote AWOL, or going psychotic, but that's what they're always going to label the white people psychotic, but they won't label the Jewish people psychotic in Israel, or the fact that America is funding those people. So I guess America is psychotic. So you see that these people just killed 16. This guy just killed 16 people. He's a trained armed military and firearm instructor and a military reserve. He is somebody who's very involved in the government, and he's a trained killer. A lot of these white mass shootings, most of them, I think the last one was in Buffalo. Was I'm not saying he's a military person, but he's a trained dude. The way he went in there and basically annihilated those people was trained. You know what I'm saying? And they always either army reserves or army rejects, which means that like they went in and they just didn't stay in there, or they couldn't make it, or whatever. But either way, they have something to do with the military. So this just shows how much mental illness, because they want to classify those people as mentally ill, that's around the world. So to me, America is mentally ill, not just those military workers. Because why is there so many of them just doing this, and why do they have so many access to these type of weapons to where they can just go out and just go do this type of things in a normal place like a bowling alley? Imagine going to a bowling alley and a dude pulls up with ARs and rifles. Like who wants to think about that every time they go out? That's that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I want to live some faraway place where with a goddamn house by myself somewhere far in the countryside. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be around none of these humans, because man, the chances and the risks these days is extremely high. Like, you're playing cards every time. You're playing your cards every time when you go out, and it's just so aggravating. It's really no true peace of mind unless you stay and focus on your peace of mind. You know, which you have to work a lot on these days, especially with what's going on. It's basically staying present, staying in peace of mind. Because I can see how people lose their mind with this time, the times that we're living in. I can see how people fall victim to it. I can see how people fall victim to the fear. I can see how people fall victim to the news, the media, the constant evilness that's going on, and the wars that keeps happening back to back to back to back. Especially after 2020, you know, we already had a pandemic. Now this wildfires, a bunch of stuff. These are the Book of Revelations. I'm not religious by no means, but this I study the books of all faiths, and reminds me of that type of story. It sounds very familiar. Um, and that's the age that we're living in. The whole situation with this main shooter, it reminds me of the Terminal List on Amazon Prime. If you guys ever watch it, I suggest you go watch it. It's actually pretty good. But the guy goes AWOL, or he loses his mind, basically seeing his other people get killed right in front of him. And they basically just diagnosed him with some other stuff. But apparently, they was actually running tests on those actual military people and injecting them with stuff, and they actually had to basically off them on purpose. So the government put him in a situation where he was technically supposed to basically die, but he didn't. And he just basically ended up like, once he found that out, he basically ended up trying to kill every single person uh, that had to do something with it. But he was immediately just on a mission to where, you know what I'm saying? And he just will go into these snaps to where he just immediately just go out there and just go do some havoc stuff. But he's so military trained, you can see that he's like almost in combat and in this reality of who he now is. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's very interesting. And that's just his I feel like there's a lot of them walking around here with PTSD and stuff like that going on. So yeah, but it's crazy that it's an extensive manhunt going around. They're checking phone calls. The Lewiston, Maine law officers are sending dozens of agents and other staffs to assist the local state police that's leading in the investigation. So the SWAT teams was there. The SWAT team is collecting information. Like it's a bunch of stuff going on. It's such a remote area of the country. I believe that's where the famous basketball player Cooper Flag is from. That's just such a random place, such a 98 or 95% white populated place. Um, and he just lost, like, quote unquote, lost his mind. That's what they give them. They don't call those people terrorists. To me, people like that are terrorists. But you guys will call, people overseas in the wars, you would call those people terrorists, but you won't call Israel or Robert Card a terrorist. It's very interesting. You call those people mentally ill. And to me, they're mentally ill. And America, like I said before, is mentally ill for aiding those people who are causing mass destruction and aiding them as much as possible. But investigators are looking at cell phone signals to try to identify his movement in the hours and days before the shooting, as well as examining social media and other electronic records or records to try to identify his whereabouts. So it's interesting that they have not found this person. So, like I said, he's so military trained that he probably knows to throw away his phone, hide all this stuff. Like it's like now he's playing the game because he kind of already know what you're gonna do because you trained this man to do these things and investigate and do all these things. He's a military trained person. So he probably is thinking this is a video game and he's just trying to lose all identity and escape uh, while just killing all of these people for what reason? Like, there's no reason for this type of stuff. Just like I'm gonna play. I think I played the video of the little girl just said that. What's the reason? What's the reason? Like, what's the reason why? So you guys see that people just don't know why these activities go on. But it was a whole bunch of calls all night long. That's what McGee told CNN um, during the impromptu interview, that his team has been responding to the calls. Um, like everybody's been trying to respond in terms of like the police department, but to me, it's like the technology that we have today. Like you could track literally anyone. Like there's like satellites all over the place. I'm going outside. I'm seeing satellites all at night. Um, and it's not just stars up there. Like I'm thinking, yeah, I'm looking at stars, but some of them is too bright and it's too close. And I know the satellite, so I don't know how you guys cannot track and literally watch him do all of this stuff from the sky and replay it. Like it's like they're recording Earth anyway. So why not just replay it and find him? It's like, why does it have to be this extensive manhunt? I feel like he should already been found. He should already be persecuted and destroyed on the spot. And there should be no trials, no jury, no nothing. He should go straight to the death penalty. There should be extreme punishment for this type of crime, for injuring around 80 people or but killing 22 allegedly or 16 allegedly. Why? Like I said, why? It's such a sick and heinous crime that's going on in this world. Like I said, you guys got to keep focusing your faith. Whatever you believe in. It doesn't matter what you believe in. Don't focus on what somebody else believes in. Whatever you believe in it, and have faith, and continue to go and push yourself. Because right now it's just such a deep and scary time in history. But it's also a time for revolution. It's also a time to get up and fight. It's also a time to stand up. It's also a time to push through. It's also a time to have strength. It's also a time to believe. It's also a time to love. It's also a time to connect. And this is the moment that we have to do all of these things in order to defeat war. The only way to defeat war is connection, love, and spirit and soul. And you have to be connected in all sides. So please be connected in your mind. Be connected with your spirit. Be connected with your soul. Find that inner peace. While we're moving through this wartime, just find that inner peace and don't lose hope in whatever that goal is. Don't lose hope in whatever that future you see is. Don't lose hope, because this is just change. Chaos brings change. You know what I'm saying? The Most of the greatest inventions was created after World War II. Greatest inventions was created after World War One. So with great pain comes great lessons. With great lessons come great opportunity. And this is just one of those. So just keep your head up. This is a sad day, but it's not the last day. It's Alphamediaroom.